Hello, this is Ms. Kyler, and I'm going to be telling you about your feasibility report. This is going to be a formal report. So first of all, you'll want to read Chapter 15, which tells you all of the different sections of a formal report. A formal report is usually a bound report. So that means it's going to have a cover page, and it normally would be submitted almost like a little book. Now you're going to be submitting it online, so you don't need to bind it, but you will need to have all the appropriate sections. So a feasibility report looks at two options and makes a recommendation based on results of certain tests. Okay, so you're testing two options and then you're recommending which one performed better and why that one is the best option. So you're going to write a formal feasibility report, and it's going to be graded on the following criteria. Structure. You need to follow the recommended structure for a feasibility report as set out in the textbook. Style, so chapter 7 and chapter 8. If you need to go back and look at those chapters, please do so, because I am going to be grading on style. Design, all of those things that we studied about headings and sections and fonts, all of that is going to be important. So you'll need to be paying attention to all that as you set up your document. And clarity. This is technical writing, but you still need to follow the rules of grammar. You still need to follow the rules of punctuation. So look out for sentence fragments and look out for run-on sentences. Make sure you're following all of the rules, okay? So the first thing you'll do is choose two options of the same product. For example, you could choose paper towels, and you recommend the best of these two, Bounty paper towels versus store brand paper towels. Pick something that's within your budget, hopefully something that you already have access to, something that's not going to cost a lot of money. So it doesn't matter what it is as long as you have two options of the same type of product. Okay? Step 2, choose at least 3 criteria. So if I'm going to do paper towels, I could do absorbency, because we want our paper towels to be absorbent. Size, I want to have a good sized paper towel. And durability, will it be strong, or will it rip very quickly? So absorbency, size, and durability. Then I'm going to choose methods to measure all of these criteria. So I'm going to test these criteria, absorbency, durability, size. So you need to measure the two products in such a way that you can record results as numerical data. So 15 inches, 5.5 minutes, 3 teaspoons. You're going to have to report on the results with numbers. So it needs to be an objective decision, not something like it tastes great, right? So don't do it on taste. It looks beautiful, nothing like that. It needs to be something that's objective, so numerical data. So example, absorbency, if I'm testing that, I could pour teaspoons of water onto each paper towel. So first the Bounty and then the store brand, until the towel rips. And I can see number of teaspoons of water before ripping. So I'm counting 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoon. Oh, it ripped. Okay, move on to the next paper towel. 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoon. Oh, the store brand ripped. Okay, so you're going to look and see how many teaspoons did it take for the paper towel, if you're testing paper towels, whatever you're testing. So step 4, you'll be including the following sections in your report. So first of all, you'll have a letter of transmittal. So make sure you're following the instructions for letter of transmittal that are presented in your chapter 15. A cover page. Make sure your cover page meets the requirements of a good design and professional design. Okay, don't just go with templates that you find in Word. Make sure that it's following the correct font, the correct placement of options. One thing, make sure that it's kind of following a Z pattern. That's a recommendation, because people read best from starting at the beginning of the top left and they end on the top right. So put very important information at the top and the bottom right corner of your page, and put your title at the top left of your page. Okay, make sure you're using large enough font, sans serif. You'll include an executive summary. Introduction, that's an overview of the report. You're going to kind of just tell me basically, why are you doing this report? What did you do? How did you do it? And what are you going to do? So what your thesis statement could be something like, Based on these test results, we are able to recommend the best paper towel for the customer's money. That's an example. You're not necessarily going to be doing paper towels, but I'm just using that as an example. Based on these test results, we are able to recommend the best blah, blah, blah for the customer's money, okay? Then you'll have methods for evaluating the options. There you're going to tell me, what criteria did you choose to test? Why did you choose this criteria? How did you test these? You know, be very descriptive in the steps you took, okay? And you may want to break that. Step 1, we did this. Step 2, we did that. And make sure those are very clearly either bulleted or set out in very specific headings, okay? Results of the evaluation. In this section, you're going to describe what happened when you tested them and what numbers you came up with. So I would say in this section you'll include at least 2 tables. One of them will be the raw data, so like what you got, like 5 inches, 10 seconds, 3 teaspoons for each of the options and each of the criteria. And then you'll have one that you have a table where you translate the data into a rating system. That's going to make it easier for you to make your recommendation. So, for example, 1 would be the highest, 5 is the worst, or 1 is the worst and 5 is the highest. Be sure to tell your reader which is which. So this is set up with a rating system 1 through 5, with 5 being the best. Okay, be clear with that. And that way you'll be able to say, oh, whichever option has the highest rating will be the one that I'm going to recommend. You'll have a conclusions section, and that's going to be based on these results, you know, looking at the rating system, looking at the raw data, looking at how each of those performed, what conclusion can you draw? It could be that you find, oh, they both did pretty well, but if you're looking for an absorbent paper towel, this one performed better with absorbency. But this one, you know, performed better with the size. You have a bigger paper towel, but it's not as absorbent. So be sure to describe the results and what conclusions you can draw from these results. And your recommendation is going to be pretty short. It's basically going to be telling me, based on what, you know, based on these results, which option do you recommend? Let's say both of them end up being the same results. That's okay. You could then make a recommendation that if the customer is looking for a very absorbent paper towel, they should go with, I'll say, Bounty. If the customer is looking for the cheapest paper towel, they should go with the store-bought towel. So you could break down the recommendation that way, especially if they both come up with the same rating at the end. Okay. So chapter 15 has all of the information you need to create a very strong formal report. Make sure you're following all of the recommendations that it talks about as far as your cover page, your letter, the sections, the design, how to set up the headings, what you need to include in each section, how to do the page numbers. And there is an example of a feasibility report with front matter near the end of chapter 15. It's on pages 526 to 534. So look at that as an example that you can follow. It's a different topic, but it's a very similar type of report, okay? So let me know if you have any questions.